The Ancient's World. Chapter 321, Getting Word to Helda. Vora. We've just finished talking to someone that'll let Helda know what we have and what we want. Tracking down who we needed took the whole day, but we did it. Now, all we need to do is wait for Helda to contact us. I thought it'd never end. Jasmine's not the only one to be glad that this part of the job is done. I don't even want to think about how complicated it's gonna get once we actually get into the Elven Kingdom. We don't exactly fit in, and we'll need ways to disguise ourselves. I have some ideas for that, but that's a discussion for another time. How about we get some grub before we head back to the shithole? Haley and I can agree on that, mainly cause I was hearing her stomach growl. Sally and Jasmine are the first ones to respond with gusto. They've fallen in love with earth food, and it's not like I can blame them for that. There was an obesity crisis because the food was so good. How about it, little brother? I've yet to give a response, but the long growl from my stomach at the mere thought of good food answers for me. The collective laugh from all the girls would make a timid man embarrassed. I'm not a timid man. I'm worse. I'm a hungry man. That answers that. I've never heard your stomach growl like that. I could say the same about you, Haley. It sounded just like Dad after he came home from working all day. The laugh she has dies down into a solemn memory. We have many places to choose from, and we have money to burn between Haley and me. Why don't we hit all the food places coming up? My suggestion might be a little out there for some, but why not try something new? All the good food places are up ahead, and it'll be the perfect chance. It doesn't take long for everyone to agree. There isn't much that Haley and I haven't had in terms of fast food cause that's basically what we're eating. I'm mainly doing this for Sally and Jasmine. Sally doesn't get many opportunities to have this type of food, and I can assume the same thing about Jasmine. What are we waiting for? Let's go. Jasmine grabs Sally's wrist and pulls her along. Haley walks beside me as we see Sally and Jasmine up ahead, heading to one of the restaurants. You really think she'll take the bait? Someone like her might not believe it. I highly doubt that. We showed her friend that we have the dagger. That's the best proof to have. What if she just sends assassins and stuff? Now that is something to be concerned about. There is a small chance, but she'd be risking the assassins just taking the dagger. All of this is theoretical, of course. There isn't anyone strong enough to hurt Haley or me, at least not to my knowledge. Someone that powerful wouldn't be in a small city like this. They hang out near the few empires around Gaia. They get the best treatment and work there. Most reside with the Adventurers Guild and aren't interested if the price isn't extremely high for their services. You're wise to be concerned about that. There is a low chance of that happening. The best option for her is to come and talk to us. It's not like there isn't any risk for Helda. She's a fugitive and terrorist in the eyes of the Elven Kingdom. When she does what she does, it's breaking ancient laws of the Elven Kingdom and it's treason against the royal family. She's never caught cause of her network of allies and travel routes around the Elven Kingdom and its borders. When you sound confident like that, it's hard to argue. Let's end this discussion and get something to eat. No arguments here. Location: Underground Criminal Tavern, VIP area, Border City. Melimora finishes telling me for the third time what she was asked to do. I see it with my own two eyes. Helda, it's definitely your ancestor's dagger. We're alone, and I don't have to worry about any prying ears and eyes. The Photis Moriel dagger is far more important to me than all, but Melimora will ever know. This group wants safe passage into the border of the Elven Kingdom, and in exchange, they'll give me the dagger. It sounds too good to be true, but Melimora saw it with her own eyes. They have it, for sure. Do you know where they are now? Her head shakes at a slow pace, but she pulls out a piece of paper from her pouch and hands it to me. There is an address written on this paper. They said if you are willing, you can meet them there any time tomorrow. This is one of the worst apartments in the city. They must be squatters taking refuge there until they're kicked out or get across the border. What are you going to do? Her words hit me like a ton of bricks. What am I going to do? I don't take people I don't trust or know across the border, and I've never broken that rule. It's kept me safe this whole time, but they aren't random nobodies, they have something that I desperately need. I have no other options. Mora tomorrow, I'll be meeting with them. I don't like going out into the city, but I have to risk being noticed or captured. As a wanted fugitive, traitor, and terrorist, I have my fair share of hunters. There are only a few places I'm safe, and going into densely populated places is one of the least safe places there is for me. Shall I prepare the proper bribes? We don't want patrols going where you're at. Another reason I'm still alive. Bribing the right people and making sure they stay bribed. With a nod of my head, Mora leaves the VIP area and takes off to make sure I have an easy time tomorrow morning. It will cost me, but I have more money than I know what to do with. My family's dagger, never thought I'd see it. I'm over 350 years old, and before my mother died, she told me stories about the dagger. Never thought I'd find our ancestors' last remaining gift. Location: heading to the surface. My worry for Helda goes far beyond friendship. We're like the sisters we never had for one another. She's been obsessed with this dagger for as long as I've known her, and I'm scared of what she's going to do to get her hands on it. She never breaks the rules. In the 200 years I've known and traveled with Helda, she's never broken her rule. Not even once, and it's a big reason why we're both still here. I'm wanted for the same things she is, but I blend in, and I'm better at getting around unnoticed. I'm vital to all our operations, and I can't help feeling she's willing to risk me for the dagger. I rarely go to the surface myself, but I have to. Since Helda is too recognizable, her beauty betrays her greatly. One thing that I can be certain of: the group that wants transportation to the other side of the border is dangerous. They wouldn't have such an important item if they weren't strong and capable enough to get it. I have a bad feeling about them, like they're going to be the end of us. Sometimes, events like this happen. Occurrences that tear your entire life apart. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title: The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat Points, 30. Armor Rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light, level 59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven, level 59 225/5900, level 77 4600/130000, Parry, level 5380/5300, Double Strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 322, Negotiations. Never, in my wildest dreams, did I expect to have to get up this early after staying up so late. Only having 5 hours of sleep isn't something I relish, and I'm not going to function like my usual self. Haley and Sarah decided to play some cards, more specifically, The Shattering. The most popular card game in all of Gaia. Apparently, they have some experience with the game themselves. Long before they met Sally or me, they met at a tavern very far from here. The reason the game went on so long is cause Haley refused to finish the night without a single win. What I'm most impressed about is how good at the card game Sarah is. Using someone else's deck too. He borrowed mine, and I'll admit, I have some good cards and bad cards. But the times I played against Haley, I could never win. She always knew what I was going to play, but she can't read Sarah as she can read me. Come in, we need to be ready for Helda in case she shows up. Haley sounds just as groggy as I feel. This isn't a time a person should have to get up. Even with more than 5 hours of sleep, having to get up around 6 isn't right. I know, just let me sleep for 5 more minutes. My eyes refuse to stay open, and I curse Haley's competitiveness with her brother. It's absolutely ridiculous how they are with each other. This is all your fault, even Haley gets tired and exhausted without sleep. Her physical body may not get tired, but her mind does. I assume the same thing with Sarah since he's supposedly stronger than her. I've yet to see any proof of his power. It makes me wonder what he's hiding. I'm sorry I kept everyone up, I just can't stand losing to him. It's like he doesn't even try. Her words are slow and are devoid of any energy and life. If I were in her situation, I'd act the same way. I hate it when people don't take me seriously, and that's something that she hates too. It's probably worse when it comes from her brother. Whatever, I'm going back to sleep. Talk with Helda without me if she even shows up this early. If she's coming around at this time, I'm going to miss her. It's not in my priorities to meet this woman, and they'll do just fine without me. You have to stay awake, Jasmine. If she's going to take us, she'll want to know everyone before we do anything. The longest and angriest groan I've ever produced since my time with Haley escapes my lips. She's going to regret making me do this. I'll make sure of it. She forces me to stand up on my own 2 feet, and as we both start to wake up, Sally and Sarah come in to join us in the living room. What should be called the living room. Sally looks as tired as Haley and me, but Sarah looks like he's ready for anything. What are you, a magical puppet or something? It ticks me off that he's not in the same state as everyone else. Location, temporary home, border city. The frustrated face and tone of Jasmine cause a low chuckle to escape from me. I'm used to nights where I lack sleep. It's who I am. As a gamer, you'd understand. I'm used to having nights like last night. It's not the first time Haley has done this either. She grits her teeth as her eyes slowly shift to my sister. They're not morning people. Sally isn't happy with me either. She knows that I was egging Haley on. Why? 'Cause she's my sister, and she deserves to be messed with. I could have let her win a long time ago, but it's too fun watching her struggle and swallow her pride. If it makes everyone feel better, I can go out and get us some food real quick. This gets a collective growl from everyone's stomachs. There couldn't be a better answer. If Helda shows up while I'm gone, you can handle it, Haley. You have the dagger, after all. She lightly nods her head, barely registering my words before I head out the door. A little down the road, fast and soft footsteps approach me from behind. Sally pops up at my side with a smile. She reaches for my hand, holds it in hers. I'm a little hurt you didn't even consider taking me with you. I'm not that mad with you. Her mocking tone is noted, and I know her better than she hopes. She's coming to make sure I get good food, since last time she didn't get to pick her meal when I went out to get something. She prefers making a choice herself. She's not as sly as she thinks she is, at least not with me. Sure, if that's the excuse you want to use to make sure you get food that you want. A massive crimson flush hits her cheeks at how blatantly I called her out. She tries to find a rebuttal. What? Cat got your tongue? If angry steam could come out of her ears, they would. Her hand lets go of mine, and she turns around in a huff, walking back towards the home. She stops and seems to stare down the road. I don't know what she's waiting for. Her head darts around to look at me, and she stomps her way over. You're supposed to stop me and apologize. According to who? Just because that's what another guy is supposed to do isn't what I'm going to do. My arms fold across my chest as a smug smirk graces my face. She's mixed between embarrassment, anger, and disbelief. Why do you even expect that from me? You know what I'm all about. I say what I want. I don't hold you to any social expectations. How come I'm held to some? All the wind is taken away from her anger and disbelief, and all that's left is the first. Embarrassment looks cute on her, and she looks down, twiddling her fingers and trying to talk. She's failed to realize that I'm messing with her. You know I'm just messing with you, right? She looks at me like my worst enemy would. She rears her foot back and kicks me in the shin, only to regret it the instant it makes contact. I imagine it's like kicking metal. You're the worst. The only reason I'm even coming with you still is cause I want to choose my meal. Her voice is high and not the least bit intimidating. It's like seeing a kitten get mad. She's too sweet to be mad at me in a way she looks dangerous. Stop laughing. I can't help it. I don't get to see this every day. Location, on the street, spying. The sight I'm watching would be considered wholesome to some, but I'm here to gather information before Helda comes. I'm giving her my report before she speaks with them later this morning. They start to walk away and towards the part of town that sells food. I keep my distance and make sure I'm unnoticed like I always am. From where I'm standing, they seem like an okay group of people. Taking chances isn't in our style of doing business, so erring on the side of caution is the best option for right now. The utter amount of food they order is staggering to me. How 4 people can eat so much isn't natural. They must spend a fortune on food, meaning they have money. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095 Endurance, 7045 Dexterity, 7215 Speed, 8240 Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat Points, 30 Armor Rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light level 59 325/5900 Protected by Heaven level 59 225/5900 level 77 4600/130000 Parry level 5380/5300 Double Strike and/A King Slayer and/A Raging Machine and/A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 323, Negotiations 2. They are having a good laugh and enjoying their time together. This is a group that's familiar with each other, not strangers traveling together. Normally, it'd be impossible to spy on people that are in a private home without magic. Luckily for me, there are plenty of vantage points to see into the home through the windows. Picking a place to stay is driven by 2 things, how much money you have and who you are. Since they have money, that means it's the latter. Who are they? While it's impossible for someone who isn't an elf to get into the Elven Kingdom, it's rare for people to be so discreet and careful with hiding their identities. That leads to problems in itself, and ones that are dangerous for Helda and me. Why go through all the trouble having a good look at your face? You're familiar. I can't remember where I saw him when they were out earlier, and when I met them. They had hoods on, but now I can see all their faces. It's like I've seen his face in passing. It's driving me crazy, and I don't like being driven crazy. Time is flying by, and Helda should be getting here in about an hour from now. This is going to suck. The reason why is cause I don't have anything substantial to give her. All I know is they don't seem bad, but they're a secretive bunch. This'll bring us trouble for sure, but she already knows that. I hope that everything doesn't go to shit like I think it will. This life is the only one we have. We're not like these new people. They all laugh and continue eating, and it's one of the most impressive scenes I've ever seen. How can someone put down so much food? It doesn't make any sense to me. All four of them eating like that makes it an anomaly for sure. Being elves ourselves gives us an incredible lifespan, and we keep our physical prime until death. The new people are strange when they die. They come back at those mysterious buildings that arrived around all of Gaia. Having immortality in a potential enemy is a tough opponent to handle. There is a chance this could become a fight. However, they do have one weakness. Two of them aren't new people, and they can permanently be killed. This could be exploited if needed. Getting a good look at them from here, one of them is an elf herself. Makes me wonder why she's here in the first place. Speaking of being here, I should move to a different spot. The light from the sun is causing a glare. It takes me a few minutes, but I find a spot that isn't that bad. My eyes focus on the group, and I notice that one of them is gone. The girl who had the dagger has left the room, and now there are only 3 left. Just so you know. I jump out of my skin in pure fear and surprise. A feminine voice calls out from behind me, "Close." My eyes lock with the girl that had held as prize, and my hand instinctively reaches for my weapon. She doesn't respond. All she has is a calm smile and folded arms as she sits about a floor above me and in a separate room. It's considered rude to spy on people. So, you scouting for Helda? My words are caught in my throat with my saliva. I don't know how to handle this situation since I've never been in one. How did they even know I was watching? I was in places that are covered, and you'd have to really look to see me. She's waiting for a response, and her legs swing back and forth as she sits above. Doing my job, new person. This is the best excuse I can come up with, and it's pathetic. She rolls her eyes, and I can't help being a little ticked off by that. When your boss is ready to talk, tell her to knock on the door. We'll be waiting, and remember. If you even think about touching the 2 girls in there, I'll kill you and your boss with the help of my little brother. The tone and attitude shift are completely different from just seconds ago. Her words are laced with venom and caution. She leans off the roof and lands on the one arm, and walks towards me. I draw my weapon out on instinct. Don't come a step closer. She smiles as she continues, and before I can even blink, she's in front of me and has my weapon in her hand. I didn't even see her move or feel her take my weapon. She twirls it in her grasp and gives it a look over. I'm in a dangerous way here. In the blink of an eye, she tosses the blade back to me, and I almost drop it. Careful, having butterfingers can be the death of you. Her true meaning isn't going unnoticed by me, and she's making sure I know she can kill me. She's either unbelievable fast, or she can teleport. POV, T.A.W. Location, roofs across the street. Time, 7:49 AM. She is pretty jumpy, and I can understand that. I gave her the scare of a lifetime. Taking her weapon may have been a little overboard, though. You're lucky that you have something Helda desperately needs. If she didn't, you wouldn't get a moment of her time. She's very protective of Helda, probably lifelong friends. I wouldn't put the thought of them being lovers past me either. I'm surprised Sarah knew she was out here, cause I wouldn't have noticed unless he pointed her out. Isn't that how the world works? People having what others don't? Trying to get that thing by any means they can. While the thought could be considered deep, it's really not. An observation of the many things that go on around us every day, it's never so black and white. You're not wrong, but if I think you're going to hurt her even for a second, I'm prepared to die to protect her. She has incredible spirit and loyalty. Something that I haven't seen enough of here. Gaia is a cruel place with even crueler inhabitants. There is no reason for me to stay here any longer than this, and with a smile, I walk past her. She is confused, at least I think she is. Whatever her mind is like, it's going to be an interesting conversation for her and Helda. I'm glad that I have friends like how this girl is a friend to Helda. I use my speed to make it back inside the home. It won't be much longer before we get to talk to Helda and try to cut a deal. Our greatest bargaining chip is the dagger in my inventory, and without that, there is no border crossing. After I enter the living room, I look to the other three on the couch as they continue to eat. Sarah looks at me with hard eyes and a questioning gaze. My single nod in response makes him relax and focus on what Jasmine and Sally are talking about. I sit next to my brother, and he leans over a little. You did great, Haley. You're always impressing me these days with how much you've grown as a person. He doesn't know how much it means for me to hear that coming from him. It's meaningful to me. He wraps an arm around my shoulder and gives me a one-armed hug. Mom and Dad would hate that we use such tactics, but that's why we're free from them. We have our way of getting things done. A smile spreads across his face, and I give one that matches. This is a moment that I won't forget, and I don't think he will either. /N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat Points, 30. Armor Rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive Perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active Skills: Heaven's Light, level 59 325/5900, Protected by Heaven, level 59 225/5900, level 77 4600/1300000, Parry, level 5380/5300, Double Strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 324, Negotiations 3. Helda's spy has since left, and our food is as gone as she is. While the massive meal was expensive, it was worth it. I still have plenty of money before I have to head to a bank. Haley and Sally are getting along great, and that leaves a hole in our group. Jasmine and I have yet to have any deep conversations. Talking to her might be a little hard. I don't know how sensitive she is regarding her past, and I don't know how willing she'd be to listen to mine in a foreign world before we players arrived. Might as well give it a shot. Jasmine. Her head turns, and she looks at me as Sally and Haley continue their talk. Mind telling me a little about yourself? Promise that I'll never tell. She surprises me as she smiles. Ex-slaves struggle with their pasts, and it's hard for them to talk about it. I'm proud that Sally feels safe enough with me to tell me her past. Hopefully, Jasmine can trust me that much one day. I'll share a little with you, but you have to start. That's fair. In the end, I'm the one that asked. Opening up first could be the right way to get her to trust me. Now let's see, I don't have anything in my past she can relate to. She's had a way harder life than I did, and I don't want to make it seem like a competition on who had the harder life. My first memories were my mom and dad playing mini golf. They took my sister and me out. This was before Marcus was born. This might be a good way to approach this. Maybe her first memories are good, but the solemn look on her face says different. I don't really remember my early childhood, mostly just my time as a slave. I was really young when I became one. This isn't going the way I hoped, but there is a way to salvage it. Instead of keeping the backward silence, I ask another question. Being direct is sometimes the best option. Then how about you tell me the first thing you did after you escaped? How was it to finally be free? Being free from slavery is a memory anyone would remember, and it could be the best day of her life. She looks at me with a surprised curve in her eyebrow, and he nods her head slowly as she closes her eyes. Probably trying to recall what happened. I remember the warm sun shining down on me as I walked through a field of flowers. That was the first time I ever got a sunburn. It was the greatest feeling in the world. My mind could never comprehend slavery. Illegal or legal, and she has suffered much at the hands of it. POV, Salyandra Orvalo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 8:11 a.m. Haley finishes her recount of the first time Sarah made their parents mad. Apparently, he was an incredible smartass when he was young and before he went to school. Their version of school sounds so much different than our version. It was the first time Mom had spanked Sarah. She felt so bad she was apologizing for an hour after it happened. Her laugh makes me giggle too. My attention is caught as Jasmine starts to laugh, and I notice this is the first time I see Jasmine and Sarah talking. Their conversation must be something on the casual side, but I never know with Sarah. His personality is direct, and he's not too great at being subtle with words. They're getting along, and I'm glad they are. Haley speaks as she looks towards me. They're sitting across the room by the windows, talking quietly and enjoying each other company. Does it make you jealous? She asks me something that I haven't considered. Since that's the case, then I'm not. I shake my head, and she wraps an arm around me. That's good, 'cause Sarah isn't that type of man. I know he isn't. He's told me that he hates cheaters, and they ruin love. He'd rather die than cheat, and I'd rather be killed than lose him. Sarah said he was a virgin when we first did it. Do you know if that's true or not? She cringes and recoils a little. Normally, I wouldn't ask this. He makes me feel good when we do it, and it makes me think he's done it before. I won't be mad if he lied, but it will make me question other things he's told me. As much as I hate this topic, I'd never seen him with a woman in my life before you came along. For a while here, I thought he was gay. Gay? I'm unfamiliar with that term. It must be a word that comes from their world. She sees my confusion and smiles. She lets go of me and sighs. We can talk about words from my word another time. In the meantime, we should get ready. I'm betting Helda is going to be here any moment now. She stands up and walks over to Sarah, smacking him on the shoulder, and he rolls his eyes and stands up himself. They're going to be the main talkers. POV, Helda Vora. Location, outside group's temporary home. Time, 8:25 a.m. It's time that I get this over with, and I get what's mine after I help them. My hand pounds on the door, and a tall male opens the door. His black hair and hazel eyes are striking. He smiles and steps aside, inviting us in and being nice at the same time. You probably want to get this over with, and so do I. Let's go. He leads me upstairs, and I look around the room to the rest. They don't have their hoods on this time, and all of them are quite beautiful. Haley, show her the dagger. The second tallest in this room stands up and walks over. She takes something out of her inventory, a word new people use. She holds the dagger in her palm, and my eyes can't leave it. It's amazing and what belonged to my ancestors. I reach my hand out to touch it, but she pulls it away and puts it in her inventory. The frown on my face is apparent. Now that you've seen that what we have is legit, will you take us across the border? He wastes no time at all. Many would try to small talk their way to getting my help, but he doesn't, mainly because they have something I desperately want. My arms fold, and I take a step back. I need some guarantee that I'll get it when the job is done. How do I know you won't just take off with it after I get you across the border? This is my biggest concern right now, and I'm not risking it. She sighs and rubs the back of his head. His eyes close, and he continues to think. His eyes open, and a grin spreads across his face. There isn't a way to prove that we won't, but we can't even use the dagger. We have to be smugglers. Keeping it serves us no purpose, and as your spy probably knows, we don't need money. He's right about that. Only a smuggler can use the dagger, and none of them are. While there are still holes in these negotiations, I'm satisfied enough to take the deal as is. Fine, let me know when you're ready to leave. You can contact me through Melimora like you did yesterday. He nods his head, and my eyes scan over everyone. I want to know about all of you, what kind of shitstorm I'm getting into. They all share a look, like this expected this. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats Strength, 7095 Endurance, 7045 Dexterity, 7215 Speed, 8240 Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat Points, 30 Armor Rating. 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills. Heaven's Light level 59 325/5900 Protected by Heaven level 59 225/5900 level .77 4600/130000 Parry level 5380/5300 Double Strike and /A King Slayer and /A Raging Machine and /A Winged Glory Angelic Flight Divine Pressure Exertion Divinity Pulse Controlled Fun. Chapter 325, Helda asking questions. Helda sits down on the single couch in the room, and her companion joins her. This is my partner, Melimora. She'll be helping in the process of smuggling you guys to the other side of the border. This is the person that was spying on us earlier. She'd not be seen by many, but I noticed her following Sally and me when we got our food. She was a little overconfident in her ability to blend in, and it was impressive to me. Most people, player or NPC, don't blend in that well. It's nice to finally have the name of the spy who's been watching us. Her expression remains neutral, and I won't be getting any reactions from these two. They're centuries older than all of us combined. While we're stronger than them, it's only due to our classes and the power scaling between them. Melimora and I have been working together for over 200 years, and she's the person I trust most in this world. There is a fond tone in her voice. Being in her line of work, it must be hard to have a consistent group of friends too who you can relate to. Living for over 200 years, that's just how long they've been together. I don't know how old they truly are, I couldn't imagine living that long, but because of who I am, I might end up having to. You both have stories that I'd love to hear. I've only been alive for a little over 100. Sally speaks up, and I'm impressed with her forwardness. It might help since they're treated like outcasts among the elven community too. Their reputation isn't something that I'd consider great among the elves. You must be a half-breed. Many wouldn't be so open with us unless they were discriminated against. The way Melimora says that, it tells me she's exactly like Sally in terms of her blood status. Sally being here is proving to be far more helpful than I ever anticipated. Having an elf with our group is helping Helda and Melimora be more comfortable with us. Are you a half-breed too, Melimora? Sally's rather blunt question can rub them the wrong way, but they keep their expressions unreadable. Their voices betray them, though. The girl in question slowly nods her head, and her hands grip hard for a split second. I try my hardest not to make it obvious. It's hard being treated the way we do. The scum in the elven society, pure-blooded elves, have it so much easier. The resentment in her voice is obvious, and it has a small effect on Helda. That's interesting. Based on the ever-slight flinch, Helda must be a pure-blood elf. Not suffering from discrimination, only mistreatment for her crimes. You two don't have to talk about it. There are times and places for these conversations, and now isn't one of them. I'm quick to shut down the progress of this topic, not wanting anything to develop out of my control. POV, Melimora. Location, temporary home, Border City. Time, 8:59 a.m. The only man in this group, Sarah. He's a control freak, but not violently and dangerously. He's subtle about it, and only about things that threaten the progress set to his goal. Reading people and learning about them is one of my best gifts, and he's a hard one to read. His thoughts and inner desires are plastered on the surface. If I want to find out what drives him, I'll need to listen to the things he says very carefully. Not just him, either. It's not hard to see if you look, but Sally and Sarah have a relationship. Sometimes, a person's motivation can be driven by another. They could be trying to get into the Elven Kingdom because it's something that Sally needs. His eyes slowly scan over us, but it's not in a perverse way. Not in a way that men would. It's more like he's also trying to get a better read on us. How do you two feel about Slayer's Earn? Now that is a random question that I didn't expect to hear. Why he'd ask this is something I don't understand from the little I learned from him. I don't feel a particular way about the angel, but I know that the royal family is searching for him and have a huge reward for whoever brings him in. He's of no concern to us. I doubt that we'll ever see the man in our long lives. Helda speaks for both of us. I sorely doubt we won't ever meet him. To be honest, I don't really want to. Knowing such a powerful and known figure won't be good for our business. Why would you ask something like that, Sarah? The youngest-looking girl, Jasmine, asks a question to the male of their group. He remains silent and lightly taps his knee with his finger. He's contemplating something, and he closes his eyes and shakes his head. His arms fold as he leans back against the rotten wooden crate. Nothing that's important. I just wanted their opinions on something that could affect the entire Elven Kingdom. They don't seem to care about their people, which is good. My suspicions spike as he finishes speaking. That's a very odd and specific thing to say. POV, T.A.W. Location, temporary home. Time, 9:09 a.m. Sarah must not want to talk about who he is at this point. That's a good idea. Not even Jasmine knows who he is yet, revealing that now can cause problems for Helda and Melimora. They might refuse to take us across, even with the dagger at stake. You're not someone I trust, Sarah. The heavy bluntness of Melimora's words makes me speechless. Out of all the ways I'd react, Sarah does none. Showing how different we are, despite that we're siblings. That's good, Melimora. 'Cause I don't trust you either. You and Helda are strangers to me, and I to you. I'll be saying cryptic things like that often, so you'll have to get used to it. Her eyes harden, and she stiffens up. The way he talks almost makes him sound arrogant almost. There is a cautious sureness in his voice that takes away the arrogant potential of his words. I'd appreciate it if you refrained from speaking that way to us. Having clear and concise conversations will benefit both parties. Helda chips in, speaking like a true noble. Trying to level things out. There is an awkward silence. All of us are waiting for a response from Sarah. Now I understand the light resentment Melimora has for you. You're a noble, aren't you? A pure blood that has a long family history. For the first time, we started talking, they both react, and they scowl. Helda harder than Melimora. He saw something that I failed to see. They recompose themselves, and Melimora makes a small sigh. I don't resent Helda, and I never will. Noble bloodline or not, she's my best friend. Her words are solid and true from what I can see. Sarah smirks and looks up at the ceiling, seemingly dropping the subject. He's still better than me when it comes to seeing people and reading them. Jasmine looks at everyone awkwardly, and she nervously rubs her elbow. She doesn't like tense rooms. I'm going to go out for some fresh air. Does anyone want to join me? I instantly stand up, also wanting to get out of here. Sally will remain by Sarah's side, and Helda and Melimora are boring holes into him with their eyes. He keeps his calm grin. Getting out of this room sounds good to me. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30. Armor rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active skills: Heaven's Light, level 59, 325/5900, protected by Heaven, level 59, 225/5900, level 0.77, 4600/130000, parry, level 5380/5300, double strike and/a King Slayer and/a Raging Machine and/a Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 326, Preparation. We see Helda and Melimora off, and they disappear into the crowd, leaving only us at the doorway to our current residence. I make my way back inside first, and everyone follows me in. We've planned to leave 2 days from now, mainly to let Helda prepare. Her connections are going to be needed to smuggle 4 people across the border. Sarah sits down on the couch, and I sit next to him. Haley and Jasmine have nowhere comfortable to sit, which means they get the floor all to themselves. You think this will go off without a hitch? Haley starts with her concerns regarding this. I have the same she does. We don't know if this will be difficult or easy. All we know is we have a way in. The way Sarah and Haley talk to each other, you can tell they're family. Watching them interact is how I think I'd be with my brother or sister if I had one. Getting across the border isn't what I'm concerned about. We'll need to hit a specific dungeon once on the other side further away from the border. While I don't know his exact plan, it must have something to do with disguising us. As an elf, I won't have any problems fitting in. If elves find out they're not elves, they'll be attacked. Only the really lucky ones get captured and deported. How difficult is this dungeon supposed to be? 'Cause we have two in our group that can't fight at the level we can. My ego and pride are a little hurt by Haley's words. Jamine's face says she's far more hurt than I. Players have an unfair advantage over us. Without covering for that advantage, we'll likely die in any dangerous dungeon that they'll take us in. It's a level 185 dungeon. You think you can handle that, Haley? She hasn't told us her level before. She grins and nods his head slowly. She's at least level 185. Jasmine and I aren't. How are we supposed to get in and help with the dungeon? Normally, dungeons make it to where you can't enter without the level requirement. This dungeon doesn't have that. The suggested level is 185 for anyone with a rare class or lower. It scales down with stronger classes. Since we're all legacy and higher, it shouldn't be too hard. Nice to be included for once. The power gap is too big. This will help bring me closer to the level Sarah is at. I'm 110 right now, and I'm way better at fighting than any enemy would think. I can only guess what Jasmine's level is at, maybe around a 100. She doesn't give off a weak aura, and she's got her legacy class herself. What's in this dungeon that we need? Jasmine must not get the purpose of why we're doing this. Haley is smart enough to deduce and figure it out. Jasmine is by no means an idiot or weakling. She's inexperienced and still green, from what I can tell. She'll connect the dots on her own the longer she travels with us and how we deal with this. We need very specific potions. They'll make us appear as elves while across the border. We all watch as it clicks for her. POV, Haley Adamo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 11:01 a.m. Sarah shouldn't know this about the Elven Kingdom. There's no way that every time something important is needed, he knows exactly where to get it and what you need to get it. He's got some be cheating or being told what he should do next. I know he's smart, but this is ridiculous. Whatever he's hiding, I'll find out. This is a perfect chance to figure out more about how much he knows and get clues into how he came into this knowledge. How do you know that the potions we need will be there? Are they guaranteed drops? My question pertains to the situation and is masked. In reality, I'm finding out more about his knowledge base and how he came into contact with it. The divine class he has couldn't have told him all of this. There are legends that speak of how the dwarf alcohol smugglers got the elven wine and drinks out of the kingdom. The potion we're going after is what they supposedly used to do so. The answer is confident and sounds legit, but I know my little brother. He's a great liar and is quick with things off the top of his head. Another trait of his that our parents refused to acknowledge. He was great at telling lies and could keep secrets better than the government. The dwarven race loves alcohol and will do anything to try all the alcohol they can from any corner of the world. You can figure out why they smuggled the drinks out of the Elven Kingdom from here. Everything is too solid, and I can't see any holes. The only way I could see any true lies is if I had information that could credit or discredit him, but this raises my suspicions even more. How long have these potions been used for? From the sounds of it, this happened a long time ago. Jasmine asks a perfect question for me to gain more information. One that I won't have to ask now. Sarah places his hands behind his head and leans back, releasing a long sigh. There are rumors that some dwarves do it still, but they don't actually come into the borders. It's been centuries since those days. He knows critical historical information like he read about it yesterday. Like he's reading it off a damn textbook page. POV, Helda Vora. Location, path leading to the underground tavern. Time, 11:16 a.m. Getting all four of them across the border isn't going to be that hard. I made it 2 days to come up with a plan in case they decide not to give me the dagger after getting them across. Fotis Moriel will be mine. I don't like Sarah one bit, the rest are fine, but the way he sees things and talks, it bothers me. Melimora isn't the only one. He can read people far easier than anyone I've ever seen, and I don't like being at a disadvantage. I get what you mean, and it doesn't help that they're all really powerful. We could probably take on Sally and Jasmine, but Sarah and Haley are leagues of their own. It'll be dangerous fighting opponents like them if it comes down to it. I'm going to arrange backup in case that does happen, but he doesn't seem to be the type to go back on his word. Who do you think will be willing to help? Most are busy with delivering supplies to the front lines to the war against the monster horde. She's right. My main contacts to help with something like this aren't available. There are always alternatives, though, and I have something almost as good as having a bunch of strong allies helping me. The Adventurers Guild has strong members on the other side of the border, and I can hire some beforehand. Send them a message using the underground network. How much does an SS-class adventurer cost? She scoffs and chuckles, thinking I'm joking. She sees the serious look on my face a couple of seconds later. Not a price we can afford. Entire kingdoms or empires only hire SS-class and SSS-class adventurers due to their prices. We can't get close to those prices. Damn, I have a feeling those are the only people strong enough to take them on. Particularly Sarah. He's got some serious power. I didn't use inspect on him, but I could tell by just being in the same room with him. He's probably between an S-class and SS-class in strength, but I can't be sure. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30. Armor rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active skills: Heaven's Light, level 59, 325/5900, protected by Heaven, level 59, 225/5900, level 0.77, 4600/1300000, parry, level 5380/5300, double strike and/a King Slayer and/a Raging Machine and/a Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 327, Parents Searching. Arkan City is one of the more beautiful capital cities we've been to. The trip here hasn't been too eventful, but we're following the instructions from the magic item to find our children. We've got to go through another teleportation gate. Our destination is in the far north, and it's quite expensive since the Adventurers Guild overcharges the use for it. We have enough money between the three of us to make one more trip, and then we're out of funds, and we'll have to walk. Where does the magic item say they're at? The player-made magic item is really expensive but ingenious and worth every bit of money we have. Chris is letting me hold onto the item, but he'd like an update if there is one. I take it out of my inventory and see that their location hasn't changed. It still says that they're in a place called Border City. Too bad we don't know anything about this place, we have a destination close to it. The city they're in doesn't have a teleportation gate. The magic item tells us relevant information about where our kids are and the best way to get to them. It sucks that the place they're staying doesn't have a teleportation gate. It'd save us a lot of time. I hope we catch them before they move. We're lucky that they're together, and we don't have to track them down separately. He's right about that. We lucked out on them still being together. Marcus is asleep on his back as we walk the streets. Marcus was up late last night, saying he was having a hard time. Didn't specify why, and I'm worried about him. He's been sleeping a lot lately, and he's gotten a little taller. Do you think there is anything wrong with Marcus? My husband lets out a small and low chuckle. This is something that Sarah went through when he was younger. My biggest concerns are from him telling me how much his body hurts and why everything aches. He's just going through some growing pains. Remember when Sarah was his age, boys grow in painful bursts from time to time. Our metabolisms and bodies change slightly. He doesn't have to get all technical with me. It sucks, in my opinion. My last child is starting to grow up on me. I bet he'll be towering over me like Sarah does before I can realize it. He'll be in pain for a few days, and his body will take a break. He'll be going through this until he's done growing. It's the worst when he's between 10 and 13. He's got a few years before that. That brings me little comfort. I remember those nights. Having to rock Sarah to sleep and try to find ways to ease his pain cause we didn't have money for medication to help. I felt like a terrible and rotten mother not being able to help. Don't remind me, Chris, those days were almost as bad as when Haley was going through changes. She was a hellspawn. The laughter rises out from both of us. Getting to see my other babies again, it's going to be an amazing feeling. I wonder how much they've changed? Don't worry, Violet, we're going to find them, and we're never going to be apart again. I hope to all that is good and pure that he's right. The thought of having to separate from my babies again is like hot iron through my heart. POV, Christopher Adamo. Location, capital of Arkan Kingdom, Arkan City. Time, 3:55 p.m. Seeing my wife in the pain state she's in, it makes me want to pull my hair out sometimes. There is nothing worse than seeing the one you love suffer and not doing anything about it. Being able to find them has eased her pain, but she was in a dark place there for a while. She lived for Sarah and Haley. Them just leaving took her heart with her. Marcus being here really helped, and I don't want to think of how back she'd be without him. You want to carry him for a bit? She raises her head, and a smile of pure joy graces my vision. I gently remove Marcus from his piggyback ride on me, and I help Violet get him all set up on her back. He's sleeping like a rock and isn't disturbed by the movement in the slightest. Her aura and energy brighten, and her frown and sadness are long gone. I'll be the first to say that moms generally have a better connection to their children than their fathers. There are exceptions, of course, but a mother's love isn't something a father can replicate or replace. She loves her children so much. Some would say it's suffocating. They're not wrong, and I'd say that fits perfectly, Violet. He weighs just as much as Sarah when he was this age. I can't describe how much this means to me and how much I miss carrying around one of my children. We walk side by side down the road towards the inn we're staying at for the night. My love for all of them is greater than I could describe. There is so much that we've done together since we separated from Haley and Sarah. We've been on our adventures. It's time that we're a family again. We'll get up as early as we can, get some food in the morning tomorrow, and take the teleportation gate. Our plans are pretty straightforward. Thanks to the magic item being so accurate, it doesn't require much on our part. She moves closer and leans on my shoulder as we walk, Marcus soundly asleep on her back. I'm betting you're as tired as I am. We're getting in that big bath connected to our room. We haven't gotten to use it yet, thanks to being so busy. I want to soak my body in some hot water. While I'm not a bath guy, but if it's big enough to be comfortable for the two of us, then I'm down. POV, Saint Lucy. Location, the Holy City, Personal chambers. Time, 4:28 p.m. Warning, graphic content below. We managed to do it. We recaptured all of our objectives and managed to even save a few million women. The way they used them like cattle to reproduce and bolster their forces disgusts me. The only use men have is being food for the current forces and newborn monsters. The reproduction cycle of monsters in the monster horde is a blight. If I could, I would have continued the campaign into the monsters' territory. However, my soldiers were tired and wanted to come home and see their wives and children. Who am I to deny them that after witnessing such atrocities? Saintess Lucy. A knock on the door and a timid voice take me out of my memories of the past 2 weeks. A head pokes through the door, and one of the most important people in the world to me smiles as she sees me. Come on, little sister, don't keep me waiting. I'd love to spend some time with you. The door pushes open, and she runs over to the bed. She's not my blood sister, but I've raised her since I rescued her from the city she was in. She's one of the lucky ones, hiding in a place that the monsters couldn't see or smell. I can't imagine the things she's witnessed, but she's untouched and remains pure. I was wondering if you could teach me how to use healing magic. She hops onto my lap, and I hold her. All my skills and attacks are combat-oriented, but I know a person who could teach her. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30. Armor rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active skills: Heaven's Light, level 59, 325/5900, Protected by Heaven, level 59, 225/5900, level .77, 4600/130000, Parry, level 5380/5300, Double Strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 328, Boiling Politics. The constant arguing around the table on this early morning isn't something I can tolerate for much longer. Today's topic is the next step in our war against monsters and what we're going to do. We have them pulling back and on the ropes. As much as I hate to say it, it's a perfect chance to use the weapon the new people built. There won't be any human casualties, and none of our lands and kingdoms will be damaged. Only places in the monsters' territory. We can annihilate our greatest enemy and reduce them to what they were before. Disorganized and without leadership. The orc tribe started this, and that means it'll be our first target. Taking out the orcs, forever. The Pope slams his hand on the table and takes off his hat. He's trying so hard and is itching to retire as soon as the next Pope is selected from the new people a month and a half from now. All this bickering and arguing isn't getting us anywhere. His voice echoes in the massive chamber as silence follows his statement. I'm going to miss him when he's retired. My eyes glide around the darkened expressions, and I see the reports strewn about. Ever since we recovered a number of women, the population has been calling for a major push in the war. An offensive one that's only been done a few times in history. No one has taken on the entire monster's territory, but these weapons, they give us an edge. One that we need and no one knows about other than the ones in this room. The reports from the recovered prisoners are all the evidence we need to continue this into the monster territory. Lucy, I want you to take a week off, and after that, prepare the entirety of the church's forces, and I'll talk to the rest of the rulers, informing them of the plan. They're likely getting reports too. Thinking the same things we are and making preparations for another expedition. The rest of you, I want all of you to contact every high-ranking adventurer you know. The church is going to pay any fee they deem. We're ending this war. He's ignoring the obvious, too scared to talk about it. I'm too scared to talk about it too. That kind of power, it shouldn't be in the hands of mortals. Everyone begins to stand up, but I clear my throat before anyone gets too far. What about using the weapon that the new people made? Not only does this save us countless innocent lives that'd be wasted fighting the monsters in their territory, but this will also save the church huge amounts of money. Hiring high-ranking members isn't cheap, and we'll never recover from it. My old friend places his arms on the table and looks down at his reflection from the fresh polish. You're not wrong, Lucy. I'm worried we wouldn't be able to live with the consequences of doing this. Who knows what kind of power these weapons can unleash if we are to use them. We need to vote here and now. The members of the council exchange looks and retake their seats. Voting has its upsides and downsides, and I can't go through them all here. Making this decision is for the greater good of our people, and if we do decide to use the weapons, the trade for what comes after is worth it. Since you're the one that suggested this, what's your first vote, Lucy? My silence causes everyone to stare at me. Waiting for me to speak, waiting to hear the yes or no of the Saintess. I vote that we use the weapons that the new people have built us. A holographic board appears in the middle of the table, keeping track of the votes. It gets a check in the yes column, and I look to my right, and the voting goes around the table. It takes longer, but that's fine. Everyone is considering the risks of what's going on. A responsible approach to the situation at hand. The voting comes to a head, with a tie. The last one that needs to vote is the Pope, and I can see the fear in his eyes. The pressure is on him. For the better of all human and humanoid life, I vote yes. A light fluttering and then sinking feeling fills my stomach. Once we use these weapons, everyone will know what the church is holding and how much scrutiny that'll bring. You've made the right choice, Alex. The threat of the monsters in the monster territory will be gone after this. The resident Kissass, Khalsar, starts to talk in a gallant tone. One that many fake politicians use. POV, Khalsar. Location, personal chambers, the Holy City. Time, 12 p.m. Goddamn son of a bitch. How in the hell am I supposed to know this was going to happen? Pacing around my office doesn't help, but I didn't anticipate this would happen. The Church of the Dark Ones said that this didn't have a possibility of happening. This has gone to total shit. I shove everything off my desk and turn towards the hologram crystal. Dread fills me knowing that I have to inform them of this news, and I have to do it while one failure is already under my belt. The curtains in the room close, and the hologram comes to life. Master, I have dire news. I kneel and try to see as small as possible. He's quiet. Not telling me to continue or not. I lift my head, and he squints at me. He nods his head a single time, and I stand up. They're going to use the weapons, Master. They're going to invade the monster territory and annihilate it with the weapons I told you about. He stays stoic, but I see his fists clench. The war is integral to our plan, and without we won't get what we need. He turns off the hologram, and I'm left in shock and surprise. The breath that I've been holding back on instinct escapes my lips, and I stand up and lean on my desk for support. He's going to take drastic measures. This means I'm going to want to get out of the Holy City before anything happens. The contingency plan is unknown to me, but he said that he'd want me out of the city if this ever happened. No time to waste, as they say staying here only increases the chances of me getting caught or worse. I like my life and freedom, and I'm getting out of town. I have everything that I need in terms of money, but I'll be a wanted man. I need to make a stop first. Changing how I look physically won't be cheap, but I know that it's my best option. POV, Sarah Adamo. Location, temporary home, border city. Time, 1:17 p.m. The day after tomorrow is when we're leaving. We've already made backup plans in case Helda and Melimora try anything to jeopardize our safety and the crossing into the borders. What do you think about getting some more shattering cards before we leave? You need a deck, after all. Who knows all the free time we'll have for games. Haley isn't that convincing. She and I have different versions of fun and as enjoyable as it is to beat her at her own games. It gets old. I'll tell you what, if you can beat me without me letting you win, I'll get my own deck before we leave. The anger spreads across her face and body as I drop the fact that I let her win the last time we played. Determination burns in her eyes. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095 Endurance, 7045 Dexterity, 7215 Speed, 8240 Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30 Armor Rating, 500. Inventory Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses 5x Camping Gear Food Rations 4x Dried Meat 4x Fishing Poles 2x Fish 8x Festival Garbs 2x. Passive Perks. Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active Skills. Heaven's Light level 59 325/5900 protected by Heaven level 59 225/5900 level .77 4600/130000 parry level 5380/5300 double strike and /A King Slayer and /A Raging Machine and /A Winged Glory angelic flight divine pressure exertion divinity pulse controlled fun. Chapter 329, A Powerful Enemy. News has reached me on what the Church of Light is planning. I never expected them to take such a drastic step, to actually adapt and change. They've steeled their wills and are ready to bring this war to an end. Not that it holds any consequence. The monster horde and its war with humanoids have served their purpose. We have everything we need. My meeting with the other members of the Church of the Dark Ones is soon, and it's the topic of moving the plan onto its next phase. Khalsar has proved to be a formidable pawn. I didn't think he'd survive for so long under the keen eyes of the Church. They must be truly going blind, and we're going to use that to our full advantage. The weapon they have won't interfere with our plans. Since this war is coming to a swift end, we need to remove our many agents worldwide. My Emperor, your daughter has come to see you. My butler pokes his head through the door and informs me of my weakness. My daughter doesn't know anything about what I'm doing or who I am. There have been many nights where I tossed and turned from guilt. She'd think me a horrible monster, but she wouldn't understand. Send her in. She doesn't usually bother me when I'm working if it's not important. He leaves with my order, and I look at the document on my desk. Finding a husband for my daughter churns my insides. I know what the nobility is like in my empire, and I will not give the hand of my daughter to a man of such virtues. I'm the worst hypocrite that's lived in my generation, Daddy. May I talk to you about something? She comes through the door, and I stuff the document in my desk drawer. She slowly walks to my desk, and her elegance lights up the room. She's one of the most beautiful girls that's ever lived. How can I help you, Aurora? You rarely talk to me when I'm working unless it's important to you. She's a very well-mannered and polite girl. She doesn't raise her voice, and she speaks gently. I watch her release a deep sigh as she takes a seat in the chair on the other side of the desk. She takes off her gloves, and she runs her fingers through her hair, and I can tell how nervous she is. Do you know what Mom was thinking when she was my age? Being the princess of an empire doesn't mean you don't want to dream about other destinies. All I've read are her diaries, but she didn't start writing in them until after she married you. I've read them too. They leave out a lot of information. Your mother was a low-ranking noble, as you know. She rolls her eyes as she hears one of the things that make her mad. Vora was a knight and a powerful swordswoman that made a name for herself. I've known her from before that time, and we go back to being childhood friends. She was my first love and wife. Aurora was the result of a passionate night after our honeymoon and 2 years after Aurora was born. She died in combat, fighting against members of the Church of Light. Before her life as my wife, she was a powerful knight and a renowned swordswoman. She was my light, and when you were born, you were both our light. Don't mistake me. I'm an evil man. That doesn't mean I'm not without a soul, without love, without hate. What the Church did is what drove me to banish them from my empire and secretly join the Church of the Dark Ones. How come you never told me about this? All her diaries talked about were the royal lifestyle. That's an easy question to answer, but not to say to my daughter. Aurora is just like her mother. I didn't want my only daughter to be thrown into a life of danger, suffer the same fate as Vora. There is only one reason, Aurora. It's an incredibly selfish one. I didn't want you to end up like Vora. I don't want to lose you as I lost her. She's all I have left of Vora, and she's the future of the Kosa's empire. She's the beacon of the entire empire. The sweetheart of everyone's heart. I don't know if I'm supposed to be mad or not. There is only one thing I'm going to flat out lie about to my daughter, and that's my ties to the Church of the Dark Ones. Will you let me learn how to fight? My throat drops in my stomach, and I feel empty. I know what I'm supposed to say. I'm supposed to tell her that that is the future of the empire. She should know how to fight. If Vora were here, she'd want that. You can learn, but you need a class that'll help you grow. Her smile bursts across her face, and I instantly feel better. Vora wouldn't want me doing what I'm doing against the Church of Light. It's not about what she wants in this situation, cause I already know it's what I want, and I want to see the Church of Light burn and all its allies along with it for what it's done to me. Thank you, Daddy. She leaps over the table and hugs me as she used to when she was a little girl running around the palace and grounds. She gives me a kiss on the cheek and heads for the door. She knows where she can find the royal treasury. I hope that I die a terrible death and 10,000 years of torment before you ever find out about me, Aurora. Your judgment of me is the only one that matters. She's going to have fun learning how to fight just like Vora said. POV, Saintess Lucy. Location, the Holy City, Personal Chambers. Time, 4:19 p.m. My body relaxes every muscle and joint as the hot water soaks my body. Dear Almighty Father, I needed this. The last time I got to bathe in my own bath was too long ago, before the new people arrived. My back pops as I sink further in, and the jets of water make me groan at the release of tension. The magically imbued water heals my body and mind, relaxing me further into a lull that I haven't been in for months. My neck pops over and over again as I roll it in circles. An entire week to rest and relax before using the weapons to destroy the monsters. I wish that I didn't feel like I should get a little longer. I don't get many opportunities to be selfish. My eyes flutter open, and the top half of my eyelids block my view. My energy is so low, that I can't even keep my eyes open. Until I got in this bath, I was running on fumes. I have a comfortable emperor-sized bed waiting for me, one that's been freshly cleaned and magically enhanced to just enjoy it. Lucy, filling the silence with my own voice, is the most I can do. It requires the least amount of energy. The bathroom door opens, and I'm quick to move the bubbles to hide me, and I see the little girl I saved. Big sis Lucy, can I come in too? I've never had a bath before, there are no issues with that. She smiles as I nod my head and wave her over. Can you help me undress? I don't know how to get out of the clothes. She does look cute, though. The servants did a good job. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30. Armor rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, very rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver and Overachiever. Active skills: Heaven's Light, level 59, 325/5900, Protected by Heaven, level 59, 225/5900, level .77, 4600/130000, Parry, level 5380/5300, Double Strike and /A King Slayer and /A Raging Machine and /A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun. Chapter 330, Differential Perspectives. Jackson has been so busy managing the new land and dividing it up among the nobles that he's hardly in bed early anymore. This giant bed feels so empty without him here. You're thinking about me, aren't you? My heart leaps in fear at the sudden voice. The silence is now broken, and Jackson is standing in the doorway. He enters and slowly closes the door behind him. Yet we hardly have time for ourselves anymore. This is the earliest you've been to bed in a few weeks. There are times in every relationship that you need to sit down and talk. Especially if you aren't spending as much time together as you want to. He heads over to the walk-in closet and begins to undress. Our kingdom has expanded greatly since the war with Belvia. We're one of the strongest power bases in the world now. Slayer Zirn's mother is a noble of our kingdom, and my new powers thanks to the feather I got from Slayer Zirn. You said that you were going to dye your hair back to its original color. Change your mind. It wasn't that simple. The hair dye doesn't work on me. My hair remains a vibrant and shiny white now. I tried, nothing worked. The hair dye would flow out. It's safe to say that I'm not getting my original hair color back. My powers are expanding too. I've learned that I've got some new healing skills. Most people would be excited. There are several reasons why I'm not. Giving reasons would make me sound ungrateful and cynical. A part of me hates myself for that. My husband comes out of the walk-in closet, and he's in his pajamas. For a king, he wears plain clothes to bed. Tell me what's eating you up, Tessa. We're partners, and we're here for each other. You can tell me anything. What's eating me up too much? The biggest one on my mind is how one-sided this relationship feels. He does everything for me, protects me, supports me, wages a war for me. The only thing I've done is sit next to him and come to bed with him. There are a lot of them. I feel like I'm not contributing anything to this marriage. His left eyebrow raises, and he gives Ma a crooked smirk. I hope that our children will have that one day. I can't really say I know why you feel this way, Tessa. I don't see our marriage that way. Who does more for who? We're both young and in this together. Sometimes I wonder where he gets his wisdom from. He lays next to me on the bed and rolls me over to lean on him. It's so comfortable being like this with him. He makes me feel safe. Okay, I'll try to stop thinking about this. How goes the nobles and dividing up the newly acquired land from the war with Belvia? His deep groan tells me everything. His hand glides up the side of my body, and my body reacts against my wishes. The same hand leaves my body, and he rubs a hand through his own hair. The stress of a king is hardly understood. Jackson is one of the great ones, the ones that care about their subjects and the future of his kingdom. Some nobles are ready to fight one another in duels of honor and competition to see who gets the land in a tournament. I'm worried some of them will take it too far. I wouldn't doubt it. I have an idea, but it's a little risky. My hand finds its way under his shirt, and I gently scratch his stomach and chest with my fingernails. Would you like to hear my idea? He looks at me slowly. He nods his head with a subtle smile. Give the land to Amelia. She has the most influence other than you in the kingdom. Her son, being who he is, will protect her from any attacks. No one will try to kill an angel's mother. At first, he has a confused crease on his eyebrow. After a couple of seconds of consideration, his eyes widen slightly, and he sits up. You're a genius, Tessa. Why didn't I think of that? He's about to get out of bed. I grab him by his collar, and he halts. He turns and sees my frustrated look. I can take care of it tomorrow. That's what I thought. I want you here tonight. He settles back into his spot, and I wrap my arms around him to make sure he won't sneak off in the middle of the night. That really is a brilliant idea, Tessa. Millions will be willing to help her develop the land thanks to who she is. She's considered a saintess these days. Giving birth to the grandson of the Almighty Father has made her revered by millions. His mind is still on work. I'll have to be satisfied with just his physical body being here. He hardly knows how to stop working. Jackson, stop thinking about work. I want you to relax and shut off your brain for a while. My words might reach him, but once he's in the zone of problem solving, it's hard to get him out of it. I feel his hand grab my butt, and I let out a little squeal. He's not taking the exact route I thought he would. I'm not going to complain. I'm thinking about another problem right now. Want to hear about it? His voice is smooth and teasing as he plays with my butt. I lightly nod my head as I try to avoid eye contact. We need to make some kids. Want to start tonight? Heat rises to my face, and I know I'm flushed red. He's pretty bold when we're alone like this. His hand finds the underside of my chin, and he lifts my head. We lock lips, and I'm convinced. We pull apart, and he's already taking my bra off, letting my breasts free. I'm not going to like sharing these one day, but I'll enjoy them all to myself for now. His lips latch onto my left nipple, and my back arches in response. POV, Sarah Adamo. Location, temporary home, Border City. Time, 7:50 p.m. Sally wraps her legs and arms around me as we're both close to sleep. My body's warmth is mixing with hers. She lets out a content sigh as I hug her closer. After tomorrow, Helda will be contacting us again, and we're going to be moving across the border. I'm excited to see the Elven Kingdom with my own eyes for the first time. Very few screenshots existed in my old life, and the ones that did were terrible. Sarah, I can't fall asleep. Sally presses against me to get my attention, and my eyes meet hers. What should we do? There are a few things, but last time we had sex, Haley and Jasmine heard. So that's out of the question for tonight. I have one idea, and she might like it. I turn my body slightly, and I lean up. I can give you a back massage. It'll help you relax and get some of the tension out. I can see how nervous you are as time passes. I'd be too if I were in your shoes. After talking to Helda, Sally has become more fidgety and scared. Going into her racist homeland is slowly getting to her. She's stuck in her own head. She turns on her stomach and takes her shirt off. Giving me access to her back, and she lays back down. Her breasts pop out the sides, and she moves her blonde hair out of the way. Thanks for doing this, Sarah. You see things that others don't care to look for. She's a sweetheart for saying so, but it's about her right now. Time to help her relax. A/N, below this line, I'll be keeping Sarah's player information. That way, I won't have to place it into the story above anymore. It takes about 180 words up. Slayer, Zirn, level 193. EXP, 3/100%. Title, The Son of Archangel Michael, Hidden. Stats: Strength, 7095, Endurance, 7045, Dexterity, 7215, Speed, 8240, Focus, 19660. Mana Aura Control, 6/100%. Health, 76,560 million/76,560 million. Mana, 216,600 million/216,600 million. Stat points, 30. Armor rating, 500. Inventory: Dice of Wayland, Divine, Hardened Tree Sap Armor, Very Rare, The Witness, Legendary Sword, Fenrir's Whistle, Divine, Sally's Dresses, 5x Camping Gear, Food Rations, 4x Dried Meat, 4x Fishing Poles, 2x Fish, 8x Festival Garbs, 2x. Passive perks: Inheritor of the Sword, Son of Heaven, Slayer of Evil, Holy Willow Trees, Savior, Finder of Legends, the Divine who has legend, destined for greatness, Dungeon Diver, and Overachiever. Active skills: Heaven's Light, level 59, 325/5900, Protected by Heaven, level 59, 225/5900, level .77, 4600/1300000, Parry, level 5380/5300, Double Strike /A King Slayer /A Raging Machine /A Winged Glory, Angelic Flight, Divine Pressure, Exertion, Divinity Pulse, Controlled Fun.